Hello, and once again, back to Filter Optional, and I am Chico West.
And I'm Shannon West.
And I'm the no filter in this show.
Yes, and I am the filter.
Yes. And so part of our show, this is a Casa Colina production. That's CasaColinaTreatment.com.
Yes, .com.
But this show is about anything and everything. We just come up with different ideas and topics.
Well, it's not about everything, but...
No, it isn't about everything. So thank you for being my filter right there.
Yes.
And Kevin is our producer.
I may be
How's it going, guys?
Good.
I may be a little unfiltered today because I'm gonna I'm gonna be vulnerable today. I'm gonna talk about myself a little bit.
I like that. And I like that you came up with this topic and you said, hey, let's discuss this. So part of our podcast is it's crazy. If we talk a little bit before ever getting this podcast, people have asked us prior to even podcasts being around, y'all should have your own show.
Yeah, well, no, they actually are like, you need to write a book. And so years ago, it would start with a book, and then we couldn't get around to doing that. I have the English skills. I have the English skills, and you have the idea skills, the vision skills, but we just couldn't put those
and then
together.
also, I think we're just kind of unfiltered.
Well, yeah, no, I think so. Vulnerable.
I think
maybe.
we're vulnerable. I think we just lay it out there.
Yeah, I'm generally going to open book. We've been a little bit of an open book, which people have, I guess, wanted to read.
For entertainment purposes.
Yeah, totally. I mean, or glad it's not me, glad it's them.
Yeah. Hey, yes, and they can sit back and laugh. I mean, when we've done different things as a couple, like running the sports booster club at our son's high school, and we'd get up and have a meeting. We'd interrupt each other, or when we're out with friends, we get into interruption.
So we're like the Costanzas.
Yes, in a way, like the Costanzas.
That's not really a compliment, but
yeah, that's for people that have watched the Jerry Seinfeld show.
Yes.
Well, good. But today we got a topic that you came up with, and I'm excited. I'm excited that it's there isn't a real agenda except talking about what you came up with, and I agree with it.
Well, I kind of have an agenda, so
good. I'm glad.
I think that okay. So
what's the topic?
Well, I'm going to get to that, but I decided at the end of September, after just being overwhelmed, and we've talked about it on the podcast. I've admitted I've been overwhelmed. Don't chew your ice.
I won't.
I was thinking the same thing.
Thank you.
It's loud when I smack.
Oh my gosh!
So if I chew like
just
I was just wondering, how does he not hear it in his headphones?
He does it at movies. Everything is just so irritating. So back to our topic.
And it's not about not chewing ice.
I decided to that my life needed some balance, and we've talked about that. Like as far as when I check my emails and when I do all that stuff, and so I have done that. I have decided that in October, I've even posted it. I posted it on Facebook and Instagram because
I saw that. Well, I don't get on Facebook that often, but I did yesterday, and I saw that you posted it.
Yeah,
about a little self-care.
Yes, but listen. So I wanted to go ahead and post it to make it public because I decided to take Fridays off also with Casa Colina because I am a part-time employee for Casa Colina, but I work 24/7. It's kind of a crazy, I've got to figure out balance. And so my decision was to make it public to the Casa Colina staff that I would be taking Fridays off. And so I made it public yesterday that I was going to take October to try to develop some habits of self-care and, getting my work done, but also taking moments out for myself, but intentionally taking moments out for myself. And
without feeling guilty.
Without feeling guilty, exactly.
Because you can feel guilty.
I can. But so it kind of led me, and then we went to this luncheon for ARM Ministries, which is Adult Rehabilitation Ministries.
It's in South Dallas. It's been around for 30 years. Great program.
Incredible program. And so we went to their luncheon last week, and Paul Rasmussen from Highland Park United Methodist Church did the speaking, and so I want to give him credit because I'm totally stealing his talk basically because
Paul's a good guy.
he started talking about, and his whole thing was, since this was a adult rehabilitation ministry,
But rehabilitation from what?
from primarily substance abuse, alcohol and
addiction.
drugs, addiction.
Yeah. So it wasn't like rehab to, go heal from a knee surgery or heart surgery.
No, right. So yes, thank you for pointing that out because a lot of people
Would go
get confused.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. So from addiction, which is right up our wheelhouse, obviously, with Casa Colina. So his whole talk was about how if you have an addict in the house or an alcoholic or something like that, how people are always saying they're fine. Okay, so when they're asking, how's it going at home? Oh, we're fine. We're fine. Everything's always fine because it's so much easier just to say fine than to say, oh, well, my dad came home drunk and hit my mom and, whatever. I mean, you just don't say that. There's not a dialogue for that. And so I started thinking about saying I'm fine. People saying that they're fine. And I want you, so I've always heard you as a counselor and I guess addiction therapist, I don't know.
And a recovering guy.
And a recovering guy.
A recovered guy.
Recovered guy. You said recovering.
I know.
was
I just
repeating you.
called
Okay.
myself a recovered guy.
Recovered guy. How do you define fine? Let's tell that first.
I love fine because in what you're asking me this question, being a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, going to, getting involved in recovery,
Yes.
and then getting recovered by working the steps and working with the sponsor and carrying the message to others. Alcoholics Anonymous, I like it because they have all these little acronyms.
Yes.
Yes. And so
I was afraid you were going to struggle to find that word.
No, acronyms. I like that you finished my thought.
Yeah.
We've been married a while, but
Yeah.
an acronym for fear is, forget everything and run or fuck everything and run.
Yes.
Fine is, I like fine. Fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. Or, you can use another F word, that just says the same thing, forgetful, insecure, neurotic, and emotional.
Right. And so, but people forever, I've always, put the word fine as a positive, kind of word. Like, it's fine, it's fine. That's just
But even knowing me before I even finished my, master's program when we were dating, I never liked that word fine.
No, I know. But
And that really is through, getting sober and stuff like that.
Right.
It's like, man, I got to be honest. I got to be transparent.
Right. But, and then when you ask your kids those questions, though, what's the answer? How are you doing today? How was school? Fine. It's always the answer. So after hearing Paul speak about how no one's fine, really, no one is fine. And they're all effed up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional when they are saying that they're just fine. Otherwise, they'd say, "I'm great. Oh my gosh, I'm incredible. I am
Or they might say,
so
you know what?
joyful."
I'm in a
bad
dark place right now.
Yes. But so that gets me to talking about where I kind of had this revelation because 4 years ago, well, it'll be 4 years in December, I was hospitalized for 5 days, December 19th through the 23rd.
I thought it was 5 years ago. It was 2014.
Chico, we're not gonna have this argument.
I'm almost.
No, we're not having this argument again. We're not.
I'm having some deja vu here. We've talked
Yes.
about this before.
No,
Yes.
and I was right the first time, and I'm right this time.
But can I pause just for a second?
No.
Just because I know you have your thought. My dad died October 1st, 2014.
Chico.
And it was 3 months after that.
No, it was not.
It was a year and 3 months?
Yes.
Okay.
Please don't argue with me about this.
I won't.
Okay. Because I'm about to be very vulnerable. Okay. So I have ulcerative colitis, okay, which is a digestive autoimmune disease. It's an autoimmune disease that affects the colon. Okay, with that goes a lot of really embarrassing, side effects or effects. Okay, they mostly have to do with the bathroom. And
You see a lot of commercials on TV now
You do.
talking about it with, Humira or that.
Yes.
What's the other one?
It
that
doesn't
start
matter.
with
We
an
don't need
E?
to say the
but
names.
But it talks about, hey, if you're struggling with bathroom, they allude to it in a good way.
Yes, and
But that's the struggle.
So for 4 years though, I mean, I was in the hospital over Christmas break. So a lot of people didn't even know. I mean, a lot of people were out of town and whatever, and I didn't want to wreck anybody's holidays. I did have to cancel a party we were supposed to have at our house on Christmas Eve, but I am a worker. I'm a worker bee. I like to be active. I like to be working, and that just shut me down. And then I was on prednisone for 2 years, and it caused me to, first of all, gain 25 to 30 pounds. So I wasn't really in my normal body or my right body. And then when you take prednisone, there's just so many side effects with that. You can't work out, you can't sleep. I was sleep deprived for 2 years, which causes all kinds of mental health issues. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying. But my answer to everyone was always, I'm fine. I'm fine, because you don't know when or how to just vomit your feelings and your situations on people. People don't want to hear, I am not doing well at all. I am not fine. They don't want to hear that. You got to put your phone down.
I know.
Oh my gosh, he just got distracted, Kevin.
Because
I'm talking about myself,
yes,
I'm trying
I
to
did.
spill my heart out here that I've told people for 4 years that I'm fine, and I haven't been fine for 4 years because of the autoimmune diagnosis, the embarrassment, and the exhaustion that comes with it. They call it a silent or an invisible disease. Because I can look great one day and I can be in bed the entire next day. For 4 years, I have spent most of my time trying to manage my life. And so some balls get dropped, but, we're not fine. Can you interject a little bit?
Well, I was letting you
so-
finish. I was like, I didn't want to. I didn't want
want to get distracted.
I did not.
I know.
I have so many thoughts going on that I don't want to.
Well, come on.
My thoughts is, I think a lot of that what Paul was talking about in his talk
Yeah.
is that's how he was raised when he was a little kid.
Yes.
That all of a sudden you were saying you were fine the last 4 or 5 years about your autoimmune disease, and yet that's how you were raised. Each of us are raised
Yes.
in that place of, hey, everything's fine. You have to pretend. You have to act like all's together. People don't want to hear you complaining.
Right.
I know your parents and I love your parents, but I can see them saying, oh, don't say anything. We do this all the time in our family systems that we grow up in.
Right.
That you are that worker bee. You are that firstborn. It wasn't all right for you to talk about your struggles. I think that, and I could be wrong, I think when you talk about when your parents tore down the house that you lived in,
Yes.
and then they rebuilt it and your mom got real excited and it's your senior year, you move back into this new, bigger house, and
Right.
she was excited about it, and you could give a crap because
Well-
you were going to college.
Well, she was excited about my room in particular
Yes.
because she was going to decorate it, and she was getting custom drapes made and a custom comforter and all these kind of things. And she wanted me to be part of the process of picking out the colors and whatever. And it was second semester of my senior year when we moved back into that house.
and
so I didn't care. I remember I was over at friends.
you were just kind of going, okay, everything's fine, and then
Yeah.
you got in trouble for saying that.
Yeah, no, No. I just
okay.
said you can make those decisions, and that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
I said that's fine. You can make those decisions. That had nothing to do with feeling fine or whatever. But my mom kind of would be like, "That's fine. Okay, that's fine. That's fine." But she was the one building up the resentment, and then she exploded and called me all kinds of bad names, whatever,
Yes.
like ungrateful and whatever. And I'm like, Mom, I want this to be this is your dream. This is your house. I'm moving out, but anyway, but you're right. That's how I grew up, is that you didn't complain really, or you didn't,
And you agreed and you did those things, and
Yes.
we do those things. It's like, it's not all right to be vulnerable.
Right.
That's what we're getting at. It's not all right to be vulnerable. I don't want to burden anybody else.
yes. And so for me, I don't want to burden anybody else, because like we said at the beginning, we're both pretty open books. So if anybody asks me like what's going on, I'm willing to tell them, but I don't want to burden other people with those things. And so even when I was not feeling well, but I had a responsibility, let's say to school, a volunteer position or something like that, I would do everything to meet that responsibility and say, I'm fine. I'm fine. Oh,
And then what would happen? You would get worn out.
I would
and
get
you
worn
would
out.
Get
I would get
resentful.
sick. I would,
Yes.
I would get
And
sick again.
It'd be this process that happened over and over.
Yes. And so I think you have to intentionally, though, decide. I have decided, and I just made the decision, like for the month of October, I was going to try to be very intentional about how I handled kind of every day, because my hope is that if you do it for a month, what do they say? 21 days to 28 days to develop a habit.
90.
Oh, well, you're speaking from an addiction.
No, I'm talking
Right.
from Stephen Covey, from his 7 Habits of Highly Successful People.
Okay.
So-
So I guess you're on your own till January, because I'm going to be self-caring all over
I
the place.
like that. No,
But
but here's the crazy thing. Here's the crazy thing. I do like that. If you're self-caring, then you feel better about yourself. When you are present with me without
Yes.
being self-caring, you're more present.
Yes.
You're getting away. I'm all right with you not being fine.
I understand that. It's very tough I'm just encouraging people. The reason I wanted to speak about this is because I really want to encourage people to do what I am trying to do, because I don't have the formula for it. But what I'm trying to do is intentionally every day in October figure out, like when you got off the plane yesterday, I had decided to sit by the pool. That was my
Self-care.
post. Well, that was my post, and I bought a book, and I started my book. I just put my phone away. I didn't look at it. I chose to take like 2 hours and not look at my phone, except when it rang, and it's your ring, because I have a specific ring on my phone for you. So
Hello, sexy.
no. It's that annoying old phone ring. It's like, ding, and I'm like, oh God,
I thought
it's
it was,
Chico.
"Hello,
Yeah,
sexy."
no. So I answered it, and you said, hey, have you had lunch? And normally that question kind of put some angst in me, because I was going to have to tell you that I was laying by the pool, and I was afraid of your thoughts on that.
Wow.
I'm just being like everybody else. That's just my assumption, that if I said, no, I can't go to lunch because I'm sitting by the pool reading a book, and you would be like, you have never done this to me, but can I go ahead and just, it's on me. But I thought you would, be like, have you been to the bank? Have you made your deposit yet today? Have you done the bills? Have you done, I'm assuming that that's what's coming next. And
I think, and I appreciate that, because I know that about you. You're assuming, but I do think that's still some old stuff from how you grew up.
sure.
I mean, and that even after 24 years of marriage, it still keeps coming up. And I know you're
agree.
not blaming me,
No,
but
I'm
that's
not.
that's that performance stuff that you grew up with
But
in your
yes.
household.
But I do think that individuals have to tap into that. Like, you have to intentionally tap into it. I mean, I've had to. I mean, it's a struggle, but
But first, yesterday, Kevin, what's Wanda's podcast?
One Blunt Woman.
One Blunt Woman. Wanda, I was up here and she brought me on her show, and what I told her, and she wrote it down, and it just came to me as we were just talking about just different struggles, and she was sharing her struggle, and she goes, "What do I do?" And I go, "Man, I want to learn how to embrace my brokenness." And she pulled out her pen and wrote that down. She goes, "That's good. Embracing brokenness."
That's actually what we titled that episode.
Yes.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
and so the deal is, we're talking about, okay, it's not all right to just be fine. What's really underneath
because we're
it?
not fine.
Exactly.
We're all broken.
We're all broken, and so it's like,
Period.
I gotta,
Because I have my shit pretty together, but I'm broken.
yeah,
Me too.
I'm just saying, if I must
No.
say so myself.
But here's the deal: is yes, you do have your shit together. You help me keep my shit together.
I'm not trying to
No,
talk myself up, but yeah.
I really, you are truly a blessing in my life. But the deal is, I tell you that, and then every one of my friends tell you that.
I know.
People from out of
Yes,
state tell you that, and tell you what a saint you are.
Yes.
Your producer says it.
Yes,
Yes,
everybody says it.
Yes.
Okay, and so we
You're
know.
extra broken. I'm kidding.
But I do embrace my brokenness. But the thing is, what I like is, yesterday you had those thoughts come in. They had nothing to do with me.
At all.
That's your own brokenness from your childhood growing up. And we're not faulting Joe and Judy.
No, right.
But that's just how you were raised. And it's
Yes.
still, as almost a 50-year-old woman, it still comes up.
It does,
comes
because
up.
I wanted to gather, knowing that you were coming home, I was like, should I gather all my stuff and go inside and not be lounging by the pool with the dog? But I didn't because
And what happened?
I-
Because I swung by the house to get the keys to come up here to the office. And
yes.
I said, "Oh, cool."
Well, I knew you were coming by, and I
Yeah,
didn't
and
go in. I didn't.
you didn't go in,
I had to
and-
take those thoughts captive
Yes.
and work through them. But I am intentionally going to do that in October because I am not fine, and I haven't been fine. I haven't been fine my whole life, but I mean, who has? But I just loved.
But if you go back to what Paul was talking about, he grew up in an alcoholic home, and his dad was a big pastor, and there. But here's the deal: is I think alcoholism, it affects everybody. Your granddad that you never met was an alcoholic, so your dad even after his dad committed
Well,
suicide.
and my dad has always wanted everything to be fine.
Yes,
in our house.
because
And-
in 1950 or 51, he was a 10-year-old kid,
Yeah.
and his dad committed suicide, and so it was like it wasn't all right.
Well, and he had to go move in with an uncle, and he was separated
Yes.
from his brother. I mean, it's just a lot.
And so there's all this
To always
stuff.
be fine. And
It was.
He was
And-
bound and determined. The house that they tore down and then we moved back in my senior year, my parents bought 2 years before I was born, and they still live there on that lot. I mean, my dad was not moving anyone around.
Yeah, but he grew up in that, and
Yeah.
so there was.
Yes.
So I say that, man, it was that was played out. We all
Yeah.
gotta realize we all have our brokenness, and sometimes it's hard to embrace that brokenness, and that's what I hear
Well, it's hard
you're
to
doing.
see it. It's not necessarily. I haven't seen it.
Yes.
I haven't seen it until I was started kind of the process because I was hospitalized. I mean, I truly, truly believe that my fineness put me in the hospital physically. I think that I had a physical manifestation of my stress and my codependency and my thought processes. Like literally, when you have to. Now, when I think about it, I was such a slave to my own thoughts about how I was going to burden other people or how I could take care of other people or
Fix other people.
fix other people or just
Rescue other
be
people.
there be there for people and
And you weren't there for yourself.
not making other people uncomfortable at all cost. Like,
Yes.
If I've always talked about, different examples of, I've always, gone to the restaurant that anybody else wants to go to, or, because I don't want them to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I did it with you for a
Oh,
long time
for a
too.
long time.
You didn't like it when I was getting healthy.
I didn't in the moment,
kidding, yeah.
but I appreciate it now. In the
Right.
moment, because because of my selfishness, self-centeredness, is like, oh, I want to do what I want to do when I
Right.
want to do it,
Right.
And then all of a sudden, you're taking care of yourself, and that was new to me,
Right.
But I appreciate it now. It's
And
like,
and the struggle is real, and I know that women are trying nowadays to voice that struggle and get support around it. But women still have a hard time getting support in their struggles. And I don't know if that's we're all supposed to be fine. We're just supposed to be fine. And if we're not fine, then we got to figure it out. But always say we're fine. Always say we're fine.
because
but-
what's the message? I think the message. It's similar with guys, but what's the message? You're talking about women. What do you think the message is as a woman that is, that's married with kids, might be, full time, might not be.
Yeah.
What do you think the message is if they don't say they're fine? If
That they're a
act-
failure.
They're a failure. What else?
That they aren't strong.
They aren't strong.
They're weak.
And then I think
They're
that
not good enough. They're not.
I think that even plays into
They-
they're not a good mom, they're not a good
Sure.
wife. I mean,
Sure.
all those
And
messages.
then it plays into, well, that's why women are the weaker sex, or that, oh, well, that's why we don't give women big jobs. That's why there's never been a woman president of the United States, because they can be emotional and they can be weak. And
so if they're not fine,
so you
then
better
they're
be fine.
emotional.
Yeah, you better.
They're
well,
emotional.
You just better be fine all the time, no matter what's going on. And men seem to be able to.
I think men do it too. I think men
They do.
all the time
They do.
say they're fine. Now it comes across sometimes as anger. It comes across passive
That's what I was
aggressive.
going to say. They seem to be able to get away with acting like a complete psycho, and people, seriously, like getting angry or hitting somebody or getting in a bar fight or whatever their release is, or
women
get on a motorcycle.
Women
and,
have that, the crazy hot matrix.
yeah,
Every woman's at least a 4 crazy.
yeah. See, and that's a problem, because that requires that. When I watch something like that, it's very funny. I get it, but I also, it makes me say, "Oh, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. I am not crazy. I'm not crazy." But men seem to be able to express their anger or frustration or emotion.
And not get thrown under the
No,
bus.
no.
Yes, I agree with that. But I think our society, it's just driven, through this place of, hey, you better be fine, because if you're not fine, then you're not good.
Well,
you're not successful.
that's right.
You're not.
And it's-
but man, we got to embrace our brokenness, and we don't
I
embrace
agree.
that brokenness.
But that's an individual thing. We need to start with me. I got to start with me, and I've got to, it's an individual thing, and then it spreads. And it's gotten to a point to where I think women feel like they have to pound their fist on a desk to be heard. I mean, the hashtag Me Too. I mean, all of, and I am saying women should be heard, but I feel like we've gotten in a spiral of women not being heard appropriately, and so that's where it comes to. I got to a point to where I'm never going to make anyone else feel the way I feel, or make anyone else
I would
you
challenge
see
you.
what I'm saying?
I-
But it starts with me, my
but
boundaries.
that's where I was going to challenge
Yeah.
you, is because I saw you wrestling with that. It's like you're never going to make everybody happy. You're never going to make
No,
everybody fine. You're never going to make everything just all right or perfect. And so the deal is, until you can take care of yourself and have good self-care,
Yeah.
then you're going to be healthier to, when you have that time, you can really be present in helping people.
Yes. No,
That's-
I agree with that. But where I was going was, like, let's say I had a boss that was sexually harassing me, which I do, by the way. But
I'm her boss.
yes, and he sexually harasses me every day. But let's just say,
Actually, technically, you only work for God, if I remember you saying on the show.
oh, that's right. That's right. You are not my boss. That is yes. Thank you, Kevin. He is
Thank
not my
you,
boss.
Kevin. So
And God-
she doesn't
God does
have
not sexually harass
anybody
me.
that sexually harasses her.
That's true. But let's say I'm a high powered attorney or something, and my partner in the law firm, because I'd be a partner. I wouldn't be less than. I
Associate.
wouldn't
You wouldn't be a subordinate.
No,
Yes.
I would be a partner. And let's say my partner is doing that. I think if women, and this is just off the cuff. I don't know if this would work or not, but if women,
I see it. You are
see, I'm
thinking
thinking,
hard
because-
you're thinking hard of a good example
listen,
and
no,
trying.
listen, because if women could make their boss or their partners change by putting their fist on the desk and saying, I'm going to sue you and I'm taking you to court and you're going down and you will never serve on the Supreme Court. If that worked, it would work. But I don't think it does. I think it has to come from, the woman has to change her behavior in
Yes.
order to get the results.
Well, the woman
Does
has
that
to,
make sense?
Yeah, the woman and the man. I think it goes both ways. We have to learn how to be all right with ourselves. And when we're saying we're fine, we're not all right with ourselves. And the deal is, it becomes this defense, denial, delusional mechanism that keeps us, being in a way that rat on the treadmill where you wear yourself out.
Yes.
Now, you might not wear yourself out until you're in your mid 40s. But you might do it earlier or later, because we're not fine. We all have struggles, and we need to learn how to embrace those struggles. Can I be all right with not being fine?
Right.
Can I be all right with being fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and
Right.
emotional? And
Right.
we're going to have those things. That's why, when I do counseling with people at CASA or in my private practice, is, sometimes I have to, I've had people look at me because I just start smiling and maybe even have a little chuckle because I can identify with them.
Right.
When they give their power away and they say they're fine, but then they have this aha moment, and I have to say, no, I'm identifying with you. I understand what you're going through,
Yeah.
and I'm not judging, because I've been there this morning.
Right. Right. Yes.
Yeah, and so
Yes.
it's like that's what I hope you get, the month of October, and I hope, for the rest of your life, is this place of when you have self-care, and when you're not all right, that I like it that you tell me you're not all right.
Yeah.
I hope that you can say it to your friends and others, and learn how to say no, and learn how to say, I'm not going to do this. But it's easy to get sucked back into that pattern that you've been in your whole life.
It is. It's super easy to get sucked back in, But that's why I'm going to try to be intentional every day, and then hopefully retrain my brain a little bit.
Yes, and learn how to have self-care, and it doesn't mean anything. You got to that healthy self-talk, like you did yesterday. Oh, wait a minute, is Chico going to be upset? But then you backed up. Okay, I don't care.
Right.
If he's going to be
Yes.
upset.
Yes.
I like
True.
that.
Yes.
I like that you didn't get up and you stayed outside, and I ran by and said, "Hey, honey," and I'll
Yeah.
see you tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was no big deal.
Yes. Yes. It's good.
But you have to do that, because it becomes, when you have those thoughts, I have those thoughts. I'm not faulting you. I'm not saying
Yeah.
you're alone in that, but it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Well, yes, of course.
You
And
know,
that's- yes.
you'll come out passive aggressive towards me, and then I'm going to be pissed, and then you're going to think, say he was an ass.
Yeah. Well, yes, but it takes practice too. You have to practice these scenarios. Okay, so like we're going on a vacation in November with some friends, and I'm super excited about it. And she's a planner, and that's great. And I haven't even told you this, but so she texted me about making some dinner reservations, and so I'm great with that. But I also know that she's very good. Her personality has whatever, but she's very good. I don't whatever, but she is very good at doing what she wants, and it's not selfish.
Yeah, it's just like what she likes.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's what she likes, and so she's
she
very
goes-
good
and
at
she
setting that up.
And she hopes you'll like it too.
Yes, I wanted to make sure that I was saying that correctly because
You do.
that's
You did.
that's really how I feel. She's good at self-care and doing what she wants. And so she had texted about certain reservations, and in my head I'm like, I texted her back and I said, I know for sure that Chico and I are going to want to go to that one restaurant, your favorite restaurant in the world.
We're gonna do that when they're gone.
Well, and I said, so we're going to want to do that for sure. If you all do not want to do that, then we can do that when you're gone. And I said, but if you all do want to do that, then I would like to do one night, and she goes, let me talk to Dayton. And she goes, we might want to do that. So it was good. I just said his name. Well, everybody will know. I mean, it doesn't matter.
And Julie.
Yeah.
You were talking to Julie.
I was talking to Julie. And so we're going to do that. I mean, we're going to figure it out together. But the normal me would be like, just make reservations wherever. That's fine. That's fine with me. That's fine
And you
with
didn't
me.
say that. Good job,
And I didn't.
Shannon.
And I
Way
guess
to
I'm
go.
saying it has nothing to do with her. It's me.
Yes, and how
So-
you then take on that stuff.
But so my encouragement, I just want people to take from it just an encouragement to that it is a process. It is such a process. And you've been through recovery and 12-step programs and all that kind of stuff. So you've done a lot of this work where you have to think about kind of every little decision that you make one day at a time.
One day at a time.
And I want people to hear that the one day at a time applies to everyone.
In every
Period.
situation.
Period.
Yes.
And so
End
everybody's
of
got to
story.
start.
Drop the mic.
Yeah, everybody's got to start taking control of their lives
Yes.
so that they're not just fine.
Yeah, because when you're fine, you're taking on everybody else's feelings instead of your own.
Yes, and it is only October 3rd, and I already feel a ton better.
Yeah. Better and not just fine.
No, I
Yes.
feel better.
I like this episode that you did, man. This has been a good episode, and I look forward to other episodes where we're challenging ourselves, and hopefully others will challenge themselves.
Yes, I would love to see that. So I'll let y'all know November 1st, but
Yeah. So till next time.
Yes.
Think about how you're not fine.
Right, you're
and
not fine. You're
and
not fine.
embrace your brokenness, and check out Wanda's episode. Thank you. Bye bye.